Alright YouTube, here's the 57 Chevy video. So, I actually need some help. So, if you have a good car friend or anyone that knows LS engines well, send them this. I need their help. I have a 4.8 liter LS engine that I got from a good buddy of mine for trade for one of my motorized bicycles. And I had this 57 Chevy truck, small window, not the big window, my bad, that my grandpa had for a long time. So I figured I wanted to put that motor in something, so I talked to my grandfather and I bought it off of him. Yeah, he recently passed away, so it's especially important to me that I finish this project. This truck hasn't ran since the 70s, and last time it ran it had a 350 small block in it. So I did have it running a few months ago after I put this motor in it. A few startup runs. I didn't get to drive it yet though. I decided to take the harness that I had it running off of back out of it though, because it was a harness that I got from a buddy who took it out of a junkyard, and he had depinned a lot of things off of that harness that I still wanted, such as the O2 sensors and a few other things. So I ripped that harness out and I bought one off of Amazon for like 300 bucks, and we put the whole thing in and it's not working. So let me explain. As of now, I have power to the harness and I have power to everything that is requiring power for this engine to function. The starter cranks, the coil pack gets a good ground signal and good power, and I am getting spark. I can run this off of starting fluid right now, which tells me that my injectors are not firing and I'm not getting injector pulse. So I need to figure that out. So from what I understand, injector pulse is controlled by the ground signal. So I've been messing with the grounds quite a bit recently, and that's why all that powder's right there, and we'll get to that. But as far as I can tell, everything's plugged in correctly. And yes, the one that's behind the starter, people get those backwards all the time. I am sure that I didn't, and I am sure that I deleted VATs. So before you say any of that, it's all taken care of. Alternator's not plugged in. You're going to notice that. It does charge the battery. I had this running before on the other harness. It functions, so that's not the issue. Not that that would be the issue, but I know people are going to bring it up. It does have a map sensor and all, or not a map sensor, it's got all the sensors. I just replaced this one recently to the one this is the one that was in it last time it ran. So I switched this back in. So that should essentially be fine from what I understand. My grounds though, that's what I need to get to. So there's two grounds on this harness that come with the harness. There's one on the ECU side and there's one on the engine bay side. So the one that is on the engine bay side goes to this cylinder head, right? Where is it? Right there. And then it goes up into the harness. So that is the one, that's one of my grounds. The other ground that's supposed to go on the interior, I drilled a hole and I ran it to the other head. I don't know if I'm supposed to do that. Someone had recommended it, so I tried it. If that's wrong, please let me know. And I will go inside the truck real quick to show you where that goes. That ground, like I said, goes through a hole right there up into this side of the harness, which is right underneath the ECU, which I am sure that these are not plugged in backwards, by the way. They are color coordinated. Now the next thing people are going to bring up, fuse box wire, the red one, does it go to cranking and power and such? So when the key is clicked forward, it gets power, and when I am cranking, it gets power, but when the key is off, it does not. As far as I'm concerned, that is correct. So there's that. I do have this giant spool of wires that came with it right here. These are the underdash wires, I believe are what people call them. Not sure if any of those need to be hooked up to anything for anything to function. As far as I'm concerned, they do not, so I have them set aside. Yeah. Otherwise, grounding for my battery ground cable goes to frame, and then there's a cable from my frame to my block up there. So yeah, the grounds, as far as I'm concerned, are hooked up in a manner to which they should function, but it is not. So both of the grounds on the ECU are going to the back of the cylinder heads, and the ground that goes to my battery goes to my frame, and my frame goes to my block, which should give signal through the block to the cylinder heads as far as I'm concerned. So everything should be a closed circuit. So yeah, if there's an issue there and you noticed it do let me know. I do not have a kill switch. I do have one right there, and I'm sure that it is not the problem, so there's that as well. That blue wire that's coming off my battery is for my fuel pump. The fuel pump is functioning and it is making the proper fuel pressure, so that is also not the issue. Yeah, I'm pretty confused here. We'll go back to the engine side of things though, now that you saw this giant mess. And just know, in the near future, I do plan on stripping all of this wiring out and redoing it properly. I just need to make sure I know how it functions before I do that. Like, I'll be relocating that hole up here so my gas pedal doesn't touch my damn harness, etc. And yes, it's drive-by-wire. I know a lot of people hate it. I'm not the biggest fan of it either, but guess what? I got a LS SWAT 57 Chevy, so it could be worse, right? That's the way I see it. Anyway, yeah. So, like I said, it cranks, it gets power to the coils. I'm just not getting injector pulse. If I can figure the injector pulse out, I can drive it. And then other things that might be worth noting, I'm pretty sure that my ECU is out of a 2500, but that shouldn't really matter. Yeah, but other things that are worth talking about is the truck itself, now that I got all the problems out the way. So if you can help me fix that, let me know. But this is the fun part. I actually get to explain to you what I got going on here. Like I said, 57 Chevy, 4.8 liter. It's got a Turbo 400 HD transmission with a shift kit. There is a stage 3 chop cam in this, so that's pretty cool too. Yeah, pretty close to having it finished. Ah, nice. Yeah, that could be me, but no, look at me here. No, just kidding. My stuff better not sound that crappy. But yeah, I need help. Those are ICT relocation brackets, the hard mounts. That was pretty cool. So if you ever putting a 57 Chevy together and you want to put an LS in it, just get an ICT billet relocation kit. It literally bolts right up. It's pretty cool. But that's about all I got to share at the moment. I'd really like to get this running. So if you have any ideas, well, let me know.